There's a church in the valley by the wildwood, no lovelier place in the dale. No spot is so dear to my childhood as the little brown church in the vale.
I want to thank everybody for coming today on this spring-like day. Unusual weather for this time of year, but we'll take it. Too bad it couldn't last. A couple of things were floating around in my mind. My guys were telling me to talk about. So if I switch to one thing to another, that's the reason why. One thing was there's a man named G. Tabor Thompson that started the National Spiritual Alliance at Lake Pleasant in 1913. And he wrote a lot of songs that are being sung there and probably other churches. And one in particular is Destiny at My Command, which I find very interesting. If you sing the song, read the words, it really makes sense that we are in charge of our own lives to some degree. There's always that part that we have no control over. But for the most part, we do set our direction and what we want to do, where we want to work, who we want to be around, our friends, et cetera, et cetera. So we do have some degree of our own destiny, making our own destiny. But I think for the most part, a lot of people don't believe that or realize that they can make those choices. They can strive and go forward and create a path that wasn't there before, and things will start to happen. Because we are our own person, and the things we want to do are already known in our mind, in our subconscious. It's a matter of bringing them out and following that path. But sometimes maybe the things we want to do are too profound, so we don't do them. We don't think we can do them, or people say, well, you can't do that. It's out of the question. And that brings to mind, I used to work at a program with adolescents in Springfield, and I had a client, 13-year-old boy, and his goal was to be an astronaut. Now, if someone told you that, you would say, chances are it ain't ever going to happen. Okay? But, I just saw on TV that they're picking people at random to be astronauts. So, his dream could come true. But because a lot of people made fun of it, and thought it wasn't possible, he probably gave it up by now. But it was possible. It is possible. All things are possible. You have the invisible force of our guides that are always working with us from the time we're born to the time we die, and even after, that are working to help us achieve the things we need to be the people that we need to be, to shape our soul and our destiny and our future in this world and probably other worlds. So don't shortchange yourself and say you can't do something. If you want to move to California, move to California. Just because some people may not want you to go to California, don't let that stop you. If you want to be an astronaut, try and be an astronaut. If you don't get to be one, at least you can say you tried. Anybody can run for president too. Okay? You have to have money, but still, if you want to do that, don't shortchange yourself. If you want to do something, do it. Because life is really short. We don't think that when we're a teenager, but as you get older, there's a point where you say, time's really running out. You're not going to be around forever. So do the things you want to do. Take charge of your own life. Be commander of your own destiny. It's important, especially for people like us who are spiritualists, who communicate with spirit. We know we have the help on that side to work toward our goals. Sometimes they may happen soon. Sometimes it may take years. It may take 20 years to get one of your goals accomplished. But you will get it accomplished. You have to keep working toward it and be persistent and keep moving forward and keep your eye on it and don't get discouraged. And don't let other people discourage you. People should be helping you achieve those goals instead of talking you out of them. And sometimes our own family members will be the ones trying to talk you out of them. And that's hard because, the relationship you have with them, and you see them all the time, and they're not ever going to go away because you're connected with them. You have to work with that. Now, I have a sister that wants to move to Denmark. Well, Denmark has rules. You can only be there for 3 months and you got to leave. You can't move there. The only way you can stay there is if you marry somebody. Well, believe it or not, she's thinking about doing that because she wants to be there so bad. Okay, if that's what you want, that's fine. But I'm not trying to discourage her. She's following all the rules and looking at it realistically. She's been over there 3 or 4 times, and who knows, maybe the next time she goes, she won't come back. But she's still striving toward that goal, even though there's obstacles in the way. And there's always obstacles in our way. We're not going to get around that, and it's not going to be straightforward and no problems. There's going to be some kind of problem. You have to work with that. And as long as you put your energy into what you want and stick with it and ask help from the other side, at some point you will achieve those goals. I've reinvented myself so many times that if you were to look at who I was when I was a teenager, I would nowhere near be anybody you know today. And that happens because I wanted to be somebody else. I wanted to grow spiritually and change who I was. And I did over time. But the interesting thing about it is that because I'm from this area, when I go back to my hometown and I see the people I grew up with, they still know me as that teenager. Okay? And it may be okay, it may not be okay, but definitely we are different people. As we get older, we change, and that's going to happen. But have a focus. Don't just let the world push you around and I want to do this because this person wants me to do this or whatever. Don't stay in jobs. This is a big thing that I did, that I had worked very hard to change. Staying in a job that you didn't like because you didn't think you could do anything else. But a lot of people do that. My dad did that. He stayed working in a paper mill for 35 years because he didn't think he could do anything else. But he could because he was building boats in our backyard. Who does that?
Right.
I mean, that could have been his job, his own self-employment. But he wasn't encouraged to do it. He didn't have the confidence, I guess. So he stayed in the paper mill in a job that wasn't really good for you. But these are the things we can do, pretty much anything, but we limit ourselves to those things by listening to other people and maybe even listening to our negative self. That we can't do this, you can't do that, but that's wrong. We need to stop thinking that way. We can pretty much do a lot of things and accomplish a lot of things. If someone told me 10 years ago you'd be working out in the gym and lifting weights and doing cardio for 20 minutes, I'd say, yeah, you got the wrong guy. I ain't gonna do none of that. I'm doing it. and it feels good. And I'm achieving one of my goals. So you have to keep moving forward. And the other thing is hope. Don't throw hope in there. You always have to have hope that you can accomplish these things. Because without that, you're pretty much on your own. Hope is like asking the invisible world to help you. And they will. They'll help you as much as they can. But also you have to understand that because of maybe our past, we've done some things that we have to make right first before we can move forward. And that happens. And we make things right and then we move forward. But we're constantly making new goals and maybe even new obstacles for ourselves depending on what we're doing. So we have to watch our thoughts, actions, words, and deeds in our everyday life that may be coming back to haunt us and being an obstacle in our future. Because there's a future even after this life. There's still more to go. And it just doesn't ever stop. And I see that all the time with people who passed over into spirit, who I talk to and communicate with, my family and spirit guides, that they wish they had done this when they were alive. Because now they see things differently. Well, you had to die to see things differently. That's pretty sad. Do it while you're alive. Don't let society and other obstacles, rules, or people stand in your way. There's always enough time and energy to accomplish what you want. And as people get older, they put a bucket list together. And they try to get those things done before they pass, right? Why wait till you get to the point where you're almost dying to complete those things? Get them done early on. If you want to ride horses, why wait till you're 60 years old to ride a horse? If you want to be doing it all your life, do it. Don't let these things stop you. Because it molds who you are. It shapes your soul, and it makes you into a new person. And always keep in mind that if you're not helping other people, you're not helping yourself either. And I think with that, I'll leave you with the blessings of Spirit. Thank you.
Thank you.